I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. At a press briefing on Wednesday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis doubled down on the election reforms passed in his state. Calling out what he called Zuckerbucks and decrying drop boxes, DeSantis sounded a defiant tone amid the continuing national debate on voting rights and election security measures. Democrats have condemned GOP attempts to ban drop boxes and restricting voting times as deliberately targeting minority and low-income voters. Vice President Kamala Harris is currently leading the Democratic charge to pass new voting rights legislation, explicitly aimed to curb these GOP-led measures. Let's listen in to the Florida governor.
I also forgot to mention, we've done more in Florida to ensure good, free, strong elections with a lot of integrity measures to make sure that our votes are counted, that everything is fair. And so if you look at what we've done on election integrity, we've done more than anybody in the country. We did in Florida now, if you ballot harvest, that's a third-degree felony in the state of Florida. We're not going to allow ballot harvesting. We're going to make sure, yes, if you go in to vote, voter ID, then if you request an absentee ballot, you also need to do ID so that we make sure that these mail ballots are going to who requested them. And there's no ability in Florida now to just send mail ballots to whoever you want to, like they do in California. They'll send them in California. People haven't lived there for 10 years, and they'll get a mail ballot, halfway across the country. That is not acceptable. So we don't do that in the state of Florida. We also, and maybe this is one of the most important things we've done, we banned Zuckerbucks in Florida. And so Zuckerberg from Facebook, he did $420 million into these nonprofit groups, and the nonprofits would go into key areas in terms of the election, and they would basically commandeer the elections office. They would give millions of dollars. They'd bring in their people. They would do big ballot harvesting and mail ballot operations, and that's wrong to have a private tech mogul basically commandeer the actual machinery of the elections. And so he said now he's not going to do this in 2022 because he's getting a lot of scrutiny on it. But from Florida's perspective, it doesn't matter what he wants to do. He is not allowed to do that in Florida, and there's not going to be any Zuckerbucks. We also believe, you go in to vote, it's a secret ballot, obviously go in person. We do have absentee requests. You can request a ballot. You can, of course, mail that in. But if you want to hand deliver it, we're not going to just have these drop boxes in the middle of a street corner that nobody's watching and someone could dump ballots. So what you're going to do, you can go into the election sites during the voting hours and you can hand it in. And so there's no more of these drop boxes permitted in the state of Florida. And it's just... It's not good policy to have that, and we've seen it, I think, be abused in other states. And then to be able to ensure that we're following the law and enforcing the law, we created this year first ever election integrity unit in state government. And so their sole function is to investigate and prosecute violations of election law. And so we are going to be in really good shape. Your vote is absolutely going to count. Everyone should feel confident of that. But we had some of these provisions were challenged in court, in district court last year, but it went into this year. And some of them were minor provisions, but the Dropbox one and a couple others, you had this judge say that it was unconstitutional or violated the law or all this stuff. And the media made such a big deal about it. They were so happy to see that the judge, and the judge rules against us every time. We know how this works. And so they were so happy about that. And then what happened? You just had the appeals court 3-0 say, actually, Florida can go ahead with these provisions in the law. You didn't hear the media talk about that one as much, but I can tell you we knew that decision wouldn't stand. We've already got the initial decision, but I think we'll even get more, even better decisions as this goes on in the future. But for 2022, all the election integrity that we have done in the state of Florida in law is implemented and will be a part of what the elections look like. And so that's a really, really good thing. And we've been able to get beyond, some of the stuff where some of these guys are just activists, where they're going to rule for political reasons, and they have an ulterior agenda. So that's why it's important you have good people on these appeals courts who can exercise some adult supervision. And I think that's what's happened here, and we're happy about that. So, okay, well, can I do anything else for anybody? What else do you need? Yes.